Okay, so on a day-to-day basis, that can change phenomenally from one day to the next. My role is about setting the strategic vision of the team that I've got in place across my directorate. But it also means that I'm very contactable. I try to work in a way that means that people can approach me, or my team can approach me, or indeed the external development community can approach me. So it can be anything from dealing with things on the highway to a development control issue or a planning application. It just very much depends on that, and keeping the strategic visions. That's about working with my team on a daily basis and ensuring that they are still looking at the objectives that we've been set. There are often days when the decision making that comes to me and the strategic vision of that is it sits with me, but I never take a single decision on my own. It is always with the benefit of my team. I have an amazing team that sit alongside me, and they have expertise in their own particular areas. So the responsibility lies with all of us. It's for me to get us to a solution, but I often bring them with me. So the responsibility, although ultimately lies with me, I've taken enormous soundings from a great deal of team expertise, and so that gives me the confidence that allows me to move forward. Having really good people around me helps enormously. I think that's about listening, actually, and just taking stock. There is always, what I have realised in this job is that there is always two sides to a story. So, for example, I could get a call from a developer who says, well, it's really difficult for me to get planning, and it's because your team are being tricky and they're not taking my view seriously and they're not returning my calls. And then when I speak to the team, they say, well, we have returned calls, but we're perhaps not telling that particular developer what they want to hear. So actually it's about being able to listen and balance that, and then also to get to a solution focus, rather than being a blame culture or sitting thinking, well, that's their fault, they haven't been in touch in the right amount of time. I think it's about being able to consider those views, but then being able to be very clear about what the solution needs to be. And sometimes that's difficult for people to see because they're involved in the detail, and actually my job is to look at the overview, take a balanced approach, and then get to a solution, but hopefully bringing people along with me. So I think that's about the skill of listening, and also the skill of taking a balanced view. And also trusting instinct is really important. Your instinct is always right, and just trying to balance that with a view of others. So a bit of patience thrown in there helps, and being tenacious about it. I do normally get to travel quite a bit. I meet a lot of people, that's part of the role. At the moment we're not in that space because of COVID, but we're starting to reopen the city, so I'm starting to have more meetings that are obviously socially distanced. But the whole point about the Director of Place is about ensuring that the city is open for business, that we're open for tourism, that we're open for growth and investment. So that does mean quite a bit of talking to people a lot and travelling quite a bit in the region and a bit further afield. It's interesting because actually that whole contact with people is really important, and that's what we're starting to realise. Although COVID will be with us for some time, it's about how we then make sure that we can still see people in the same environment. So ordinarily, yes, at the moment I'm doing it all on video. I think this is my dream job for the moment. I would always say that there's always time to grow. So I'm 50 years plus, and from the age of leaving school, I've always found a different role that I've really enjoyed, but I've never said that that's it forever. I think I'm still I'm still learning, and there are still things that I'd like to do. But I am really happy where I am at the moment, and I'm really happy with the work that we're involved in. I mean, who else gets to have the opportunity to look at the city in its wider context? So I think I have got the dream job at the moment, but that won't stop me thinking about other things. I think never say never. I have to keep talking to my team about taking time out and looking after themselves, and I'm also sometimes have to remind myself that I note to self that actually taking some time out, it makes you much better at what you do. So my work-life balance consists of walking my dogs as often as possible, spending time with my brilliant family and my children, but also running, hiking, paddle boarding. I love swimming in the sea. I know it sounds absolutely bonkers, but I do that fairly regularly through the summer, and that just and those things that I do, particularly paddle boarding and running, helps me to switch off. You know, it gives me time on my own, because when I'm at home, I'm mum or wife, and I've got great friends, and when I'm at work, I'm on calls. So actually, those things that I do make me switch off completely, and that makes me sort of right myself in the world. And I probably go home. My family probably think, oh, thank goodness she's been for a run and she's had some time and some space. So that helps enormously. I wanted to know how I fell into this job. Actually, when I left school, I didn't train to be a chartered surveyor, and I certainly didn't expect to be in this job at all. For me, it's about doing something that you absolutely love and you throw yourself into completely. And I've also been a learner along the way. I've trained as I've been in a job, and I've learned along the way. It hasn't something I set myself up for. And I think considering a role like this is about using all of your traits. It's not just about your professional traits, it's about being a person and being a human being and being a listener and being able to use your instinct. And so for that, I think that's what brings the skill to this job. But I'm absolutely convinced that going into any job or any role is about bringing part of you with it. Yes, it has, but those I think it's down to the individual about the opportunities that present themselves. So you could work in any role, I would imagine, even in my own role, that you can choose different things to put your hand up for. So there are, opportunities that come along that are about, meeting ministers or meeting politicians. And I've always been the one to say, I can have a go at that, and can I come along, or can I help do that, or can I help prepare it? So yes, it has, but equally I could choose not to. So I think that's much more about, are you open for opportunities? Are you keen to learn more? And it's about really saying, it's a bit like being in the classroom, knowing that you might get the answer wrong, but you also might get it right. So it's about having the confidence of putting your hand up. It's exactly the same in the world of business. There are opportunities that will present themselves, and it's up to you to choose them. I've always felt that I've wanted to have a go at it rather than sit down, because I hate that feeling of I wished I had said something, or kicking myself because I didn't put myself forward. So, that moment of feeling a bit worried about the answer only lasts for a few seconds, but actually the experience can add value for a long time. So for me, it's always about just having the confidence of making that first step, and then see where it takes you.